because of the 52-year drought. Like, I was ecstatic. Like, obviously, I showed that the first wave of emotion was when everyone saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years. Everything in sports was going on in Cleveland. And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. You know, everybody was just talking how they were the greatest team of all time. Like, they was the greatest team ever assembled. And for us to come back, you know, the way we came back in that fashion, I was like, you did something special. That's probably one of the only times in my career I felt like, oh, like you did something special. I haven't really had time to really like sit back and think, but that was a moment.
All right, Nick, you agree with LeBron? Did you look back on that and say that was the moment?
That's the exact moment. And he's exactly right, because up until that run, LeBron was already, as far as individual statistics, on pace to become probably the greatest individual statistical player ever. It's going to be him, Kareem, and Wilt. Like, that was it. But what he didn't have was the overall team success. And what that Game 7 of that 2016 NBA Finals did was it cemented or put a cap on the greatest 5-year run any basketball player has ever had. Like, here's the 5-year run. He ended the original Big Three in Boston with a 45-15-5 on the road, down 3-2 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then beat the team that Bart was talking about could have become the Big Three, KD, Russ, and Harden, in the NBA Finals. The next year, his team won 27 straight games. He won not only MVP again for the 4th time, but Game 7 of the NBA Finals, hit the jump shot to seal it in the 37-12 game. The following year, went back to the finals, averaged 28 a game on 57%, and the guy guarding him got finals MVP. The next year, went back to the finals, with his second best player being Matthew Dellavedova, and the guy guarding him won finals MVP, despite LeBron going 36, 13, and 9 for the NBA Finals. And then that year, down 3-1 against a 73-win team, without home court advantage, with everything stacked against him, he goes 41-16-7, 41-8-11, and then 27-11-11 in a game where he hit the free throw to ice the game and had the single greatest defensive play in the history of the sport. That is the best 5-year run in the history of the game, and that run made him the greatest player in the history of the game. It's not, what's up, Bart?
Best 5-year run ever?
Yeah, tell me a better 5-year run.
How about MJ from 90 to 98?
Okay, but that's, here's
running right, and he took a year off. If he didn't take a year off, he would have won 7 in a row.
Okay, well, so find me the 5 years, Bart.
And let's talk about the assist that he got from the NBA because they suspended, Draymond Green. How about that?
You know, it's a really good point, because the game without Draymond, he scored 41 points, and then Draymond was back for Game 6, and he scored 41 points, and Draymond was there for Game 7, and he had a triple-double to win it.
It would have never went that far. If you know the NBA.
Well, tell Draymond to keep his hands to himself.
They put one in. They put one out, man. Come on.
But you
I give him some credit because he took Cleveland. You know, he won a championship for Cleveland, which we know how difficult that is. But him saying he's the greatest player of all time, come on.
Well, you said,
come on,
you mentioned Jordan. Jordan didn't have a 5-year stretch better than that. There's no 5-year stretch any player has ever had where they've won more than 3 finals MVPs.
Are we both using?
There isn't one.
Are we both using the same things to determine what makes the best player? You're using.
It's not numbers, man. You talk about fluffed up numbers, man. Of course, it's a different game. It's a different era.
Okay.
So of course you can put up more numbers and more statistics, especially when you're the biggest player on the court and nobody can't stop you and you can run through. I mean, MJ played in an era where it was more skill, I believe, in NBA per player. And it was a more of a physical type of game. It was a more slowed down pace. And listen, how many?
Hold on. I just want to make sure I understand, just real quick, because the point you just made was LeBron's bigger and stronger than everybody, right? And not the centers.
And the rules are offensively slight.
Okay, so LeBron's bigger and stronger than everybody, yet he wouldn't have thrived in an era that rewarded physicality?
No, he could have. But tell me this: what great player did LeBron deny a championship to?
Kevin Durant. He did it.
He got it eventually.
Okay, no.
Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, all sitting ringless because of MJ.
Yeah, absolutely correct. But you asked who he denied a championship to. He beat Kawhi Leonard for a championship, beat Tim Duncan for a championship, beat Kevin Durant for a championship.
Lost to Dirk Nowitzki.
James Harden. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what made that run so impressive.
He ran to the west to run away from the Golden State Warriors to try and get Anthony Davis to come because he need help.
He ran from the west to run away from the Warriors. I don't know how that makes sense. However, the Nowitzki finals, the Mavs finals is the lowest point for any all-time great player ever. The problem for people that want to deny what they're seeing is what he followed that up with is the greatest 5-year stretch. Pick your favorite player. None of them have more finals MVPs over 5 years than LeBron did in that stretch. None of them have a more impressive individual or team resume than LeBron does over that stretch. You say LeBron ran to the West. Why did Jordan not win 8 straight? He left the sport, right? Yeah. And then the one he came, did he leave for 2 full years or a year and a half? Year and a half, right? Because when he came back, he played that season. Something happened. They didn't win the championship.
Let's see, 6 is greater than 3, right?
Yeah. Oh, listen, you can always count the rings. You can always do the argument of count the rings, but in that case, then it's Russell #1, Kareem and Jordan are tied. Robert Horry's got to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like,
no. There's some guys that drove the bus and there's some guys that were passengers.
So Bill Russell is without question the greatest player of all time. Without question, he got 11 of them.
He's the greatest winner of all time.
Okay, so all right, so
George boasts the best. He's the best player. He's the best player. No, he's the best player of all time.
LeBron got that right.
All right.
No, liar.
LeBron got that right.
No.
Jenna?
Why don't we do something where we can both agree? Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. They took care of business in Week 17. Good win for the team. Good performance from the quarterback, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott. So Zeke won the rushing title despite sitting out Sunday's game. His head coach, Jason Garrett, said the move keeps him, quote, fresher going forward. Bart, what do the Cowboys need out of Zeke if they're going to go ahead and beat this Seattle Seahawks team?
They need him to set the tone. They're on like I said, Ezekiel Elliott is on a collision course with Bobby Wagner. He's going to have to put his foot in his chest. He's going to have to say, foot in chest, repeat. They're going, listen, the only way you beat a team like the Seattle Seahawks is to out-physical them, right? And you can't try and run around them. You can't try and gadget them. It's only one thing they respect. Physicality. You got to say, listen, this is going to be one of these in the phone booth type of games. You're going to have to set the tone. You set the tone early in practice by saying, listen, this is the game plan. We're coming downhill. We're putting the ball on our best player. We're going to take shots. That's the only chance they have, because if they try and not stick to their identity, who they are, then the advantage is going to go to the Seattle Seahawks.
And here's the other thing. They need Zeke to be great. And by the way, since the Titans game, he's had 100 yards from scrimmage in every single game leading into Week 17 where he didn't play. He has been great, but they don't only need him to be great to score. They need him to be great to keep their defense, the Dallas defense, off the field, because quietly this last month, that Dallas defense, it really did peak with that Saints performance, and since then it's been leaking a little bit of oil. They've given up 23, 23, 20, and 35 points in their final month of football. So I don't know that you can just say our defense is going to hold Seattle down to 16 points. We're only going to need 17 to win. I think Dallas has to look at this game saying, we're probably going to need 27 points to win this football game, and we're going to have to keep Seattle's offense off the field, because Russell Wilson has shown time and again this year in his career, he's a great fourth quarter quarterback, right? The playoffs, that fourth quarter can be the entire game. He has the ability to be a drop back 40 times a game passer if they need him to be. So that's why Zeke's got to keep them off the field.
Do you trust, though, that if they do find themselves far behind, that Dak will go out there and maybe can just from what you've seen in the last couple weeks, can start getting them back into it?
Well, this is going to be on Scott Linehan, right? He's going to have to try and design some explosive plays. Understanding that Seattle at his core is a cover 3 team, they're going to have to move Amari Cooper around so that they can't get that high safety third cornerback on top of him and take him away. They're going to have to put him in a slot, because what kills cover 3 is 4 verticals, right? It forces you to have to communicate. It forces one of those safeties to have to say, I have to carry a receiver. And it's going to be up to Dak to find that safety that's carrying the receiver. They don't have a Cam Chancellor. They don't have an Earl Thomas. They have backups and replacements for those guys. That's where you're going to have opportunities to get your shots. Not on the outside. I think that Seattle's solid on the outside. They're going to play so deep. You're going to get those opportunities in the slot.
The Chargers, the Saints, the Rams, the Chiefs, these are all teams that this year have shown they can fall down by multiple scores and come back to tie a game, come back to take a lead, come back to win a game. The Cowboys and the Ravens are the two teams in this tournament that I would say if at any point they're down 10 points, the game's over. Yeah. I don't think they have a path to victory where they can come back from double digits down. Like anybody, you can get down a touchdown, no problem. But if you are down multiple scores, what that allows you to do, because it removes the Cowboys running game to a degree, it puts the onus on Zeke, and it allows a team like Seattle just say, oh, this is perfect. All we want to do is run the ball anyway. Right. I saw Seattle in a game against the Rams. They almost came back to win. 5 minutes left, down 12, running the football because it's who they are. That's down 12. What are they going to do if they get up 12? They're just going to run the football. So no, I do not think they have the firepower if they get down multiple scores to come back. But nobody wants to be down multiple scores. Dallas is at home. Dallas is the favorite. Dallas should be in position where this is a 3-point game one way or another the whole game. They got arguably the best kicker in the playoffs on the NFC side in Brett Maher, a guy they cut Dan Bailey to keep, and it's been proven right. Have it come down to something like that, because they're not going to win a shootout and they're not going to have a great comeback victory.
All right. LeBron James, Michael Jordan. Happy.
MJ, I got you, baby.
I know you do.
Send me a pair of